Tonight, we're traveling to the far southern waters of Chile, where thick ocean fog rolls in without warning, and the sea can feel as alive as the people who live beside it. This is where one of the most feared legends still rises from the waves. El Caleuche, the glowing ghost ship said to sail the waters of Chiloé, taking the souls of the drowned and sometimes returning them. And what most people don't know is that there are real paranormal encounters reported for generations, sightings that were documented by sailors, fishermen, and even government ships. These are the true stories, and they're far more terrifying than the legend itself. One of the most chilling encounters comes from 1964, when a fisherman named Rodolfo Andrade of Chiloé Island vanished at sea during a storm. His family assumed he drowned until 6 months later he returned. But something was wrong. Neighbors said Rodolfo looked healthy, too healthy for someone lost for half a year. His skin was pale, almost waxy. His eyes distant, like he was watching something only he could see. When asked where he had been, he only whispered, "They made me dance." Rodolfo wouldn't tell anyone more, but his daughter years later claimed her father often woke up screaming, begging the skinless men to stop pulling him back to the ocean. After Rodolfo died, fishermen swore they saw him standing on the glowing deck of his ship during foggy nights, waving. They say his face was blank, his eyes completely black, and the ship behind him disappeared into the mist as suddenly as it arrived. To this day, the people of Chiloé still point to that stretch of ocean and say that's where El Caleuche took Rodolfo. In 1977, a Chilean Navy patrol vessel recorded something they couldn't explain. Late at night, their radar picked up a large ship approaching fast, though they saw nothing with the naked eye. The radar operator described it as a vessel of impossible size. When the ghost signal was nearly on top of them, every light aboard the patrol ship flickered. The radios went dead. And then the sailors heard it. Music, soft at first, like a violin underwater, then louder, almost frantic. It surrounded the ship, echoing from everywhere and nowhere at once. Moments later, something massive began to pass beside them, but only the water moved, as though a giant hull was cutting through the waves. No ship, no lights, just the physical imprint of something enormous. When the radar snapped back to normal, the object vanished instantly. That night was logged in the vessel's official incident book. One sailor later admitted he refused to work night shifts after that. In 2003, 3 fishermen from Chilean Island reported seeing 2 men walking on the water toward their boat just before dawn. The men were soaked, bluish-white, and moving stiffly, almost like puppets being dragged by invisible strings. One fisherman later said, "Their clothes were dripping, but the water never touched the sea. It fell into nothing." As the figures approached, something enormous lit up behind them, a ship-shaped glow in the fog, so bright it illuminated the water. Then the music began, twisting, warped, and wrong. The fishermen panicked, cutting their lines and speeding away. But one of them made the mistake of looking back. He said the glowing figures had stopped walking and were staring at him. When the men reached shore, they discovered something terrifying. One fisherman, who hadn't looked back, was completely dry. The other 2 were drenched in freezing seawater, even though they had never fallen in. Locals say this is a sign that El Caleuche touched you, and if it touches you once, it may return.
The village of Tinaun still talks about the night in 1988 when the entire community heard music come from the ocean. Dozens of people stepped outside around 3 a.m., confused, thinking a large cruise ship had anchored offshore. But there was only fog. Thick, glowing fog that rolled silently across the water. Witnesses swear they heard violins, accordions, and laughter, hundreds of voices celebrating a party no living person could see. Then a bright light pulsed inside the fog, expanding like something enormous was turning toward the shore. Just as someone shouted for everyone to run inside, the music stopped. Everything went silent, and the fog collapsed onto the water like a dropped curtain. The next morning, the beach was covered in footprints, bare footprints, leading from the water up to the village, and then back into the sea.
Every coastal town of Chiloé has its own encounters with the Caleuche, the glowing ship, the drowned crew, the music that doesn't belong to the living, people returning from the sea changed forever. Some stories are legends, but many are documented eyewitness accounts. If you ever travel to southern Chile, the locals will all tell you the same thing. If you hear music coming from the ocean at night, don't go outside, don't look, don't listen, because once you've heard the Caleuche call your name, it may follow you until you answer. If you enjoyed tonight's true paranormal story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Your support keeps these haunted tales alive. And remember, on this channel, sometimes they continue to speak.